Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Under the Rim. And man, it's been a hectic week with the Jordan documentary. I just seen today LeBron popping off on Twitter saying, "Ain't no way in hell we gonna cancel the seasons," because there's apparently a bunch of like reports came out, like NBA execs, NBA like just personalities were saying how the season's gonna get canceled, and the Players Association got some shit to say about that. All right, it's not gonna get canceled. I swear, if this season gets canceled, man, I'm gonna be so upset, bro. That's 2 years of LeBron pretty much wasted, bro. That's yo. The season could have been greatness. That Clippers versus Lakers, that series would have been fire. All right. I still don't know who would have came out the East. I'm always saying the Bucks or Celtics, but you never know. You never know. The Raptors could have came out of nowhere and could have came out. The Heat could have been something, but they cannot cancel this season. I'm praying they don't cancel this season. Players Association, get on that. Anyways, let's talk about what happened this week, bro. It's been crazy. It's been crazy these last two episodes of the Jordan documentary. My biggest takeaways from those are the fact that like it's a team. It's a team sport, and a lot of people seem to forget that. And how underappreciated I would say Dennis Rodman is, and the lost art of rebounding. So one of my friends messaged me on Instagram and said, if you could talk about this on your Twitter, just about rebounding, what makes a great rebounder, and such stuff like that. And I was thinking about, I was like, yo, that's a really good topic to talk about, because you don't see it a lot nowadays. You just see people don't I don't really see what Rodman was saying in the documentary, really practicing what he was talking about, because they kind of just say like rebounding isn't really a skill. People say you just do it. You don't really need to practice it. You can practice it for a couple seconds, but really you need to work on your shooting, passing, all the other stuff, And I feel like Rodman is kind of he's like a lost gem in today's game. If you get what I'm saying, the closest thing we have to Draymond is Draymond, and I don't think Draymond could ever fill Rodman's shoes, especially after seeing this documentary. This man was studying the trajectory of the ball, where it hit the rim, where it was gonna land, if Mike shot it on the left side, how he would catch it on the right side, or how he would box out people, and he studied the game hard. You just don't hear people saying stuff like that anymore. Rodman knew his role. He knew his role. He wasn't a scorer. He was a rebounder, and he played defense, and he perfected that. He perfected the craft. He didn't try to do anything crazy. He didn't try to do anything fancy. He didn't try to dribble up the floor and lose the ball and not give it to Durant for the game-winning shot. He knew his role. Grab the rebound, give it to Jordan, and give it to Scotty. Play defense, lock down these type of players, bro. And I feel like we don't get that enough in today's game. You can see that everyone's trying to do everything at once. And some people are really excel at that. Some people are really good at that. And people like to compare Rodman and Draymond a lot. But the thing was, Rodman was good on two different teams. He was good on the Pistons, and he was good on the Bulls. Man was winning Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond ain't even good on his own team. And bro, that's a hot take. But think about it. All right, Draymond excels when he has Curry, Clay, Durant, etc., etc. And you take those guys away, he was suffering this whole season. And then you could say, oh, Draymond had Jordan, Scotty, all these guys, right? But say when Scotty left, he became the number two. He became the number two to Jordan, and he still excelled. He locked in. He still played well. Even on the Pistons, he still played well. He didn't need all these other people to be him, because he wasn't trying to do this passing. He wasn't trying to be an offensive machine. He was just a rebounder, a tense guy, backed up his teammates. And I feel like Draymond could get there, but right now, I don't know. He said he was the best defensive player a while back. No, 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 no. I have guys like, again, Rodman over him, Scotty over him, Kawhi, AD, all these guys that take defensively over Draymond, to be honest with you. And you could say I'm hating on Draymond a little bit, but I don't know, bro. He's a good player, but if I'm making a squad, like if I have to pick 5 players in the NBA, he's not gonna be on it, obviously. Obviously, like Draymond is a Hall of Fame player, no doubt about it. He's gonna get in the Hall of Fame. But I think if we're comparing two players to him, if we're comparing Rodman to him, obviously I'm taking Rodman. Like, there's no doubt about it. You see the hard work this guy put in. You see how he studied his role. Like, this whole thing This whole 2 episodes, you can just deep dive into Dennis Rodman as a player. And we need guys like that in today's game. You need that enforcer on your team to win championships. You need that sort of like dog mentality, if you know what I'm saying. You know how everyone calls like Patrick Beverly a dog, Jimmy Butler's a dog, like that type of mentality, where they don't really care about scoring, they don't really care about being in the limelight. They're willing to get down and dirty. They're willing to fight for the boards. They're willing to fight for the steals, the loose balls. If someone's beefing with another teammate, they get in their face. Like the enforcer. You know what I'm trying to say? And you have guys like they had Rodman, you had Meta World Peace, you had let me think here. Do I want to say Shaq? I don't want to say Shaq. I'm just thinking of these different teams. The guys like Jimmy Butler, Pat Beverly, um, I think do we want to say like just with veteran experience, like what I'm trying to say, and a lot of teams don't have that right now. That's what I was kind of worried for the Lakers. If you look at the Lakers, yeah, we got LeBron, we got AD, but LeBron's not gonna get in people's faces and fight them. He's just gonna do his thing, remain cool because he has to lead the team. And people are saying we guys got like Jared Dudley, but if you got someone like Lance Stevenson, if you signed one of the hard hitters, I guess Markieff is it? Yeah, we have Markieff right now, right? Is Markieff Morris? So I guess he can be the enforcer, but there's always a step up from that. I thought we should have kept Lance Stevenson because he's up there, yo. He can deal with Pat Beverly shit. So I feel like the Lakers need that, and because the Clippers have something like that, each team has a guy like that respectively. It should have that. Like the Celtics have, I would say, Marcus Smart. Let's say the Clippers, obviously Pat Beverly, James Harden. Not when I say James Harden, the Rockets. Do I want to say Westbrook is that type of guy because he's a superstar, but he can also be that type of guy. It's hard, and Rodman is super important. Like we are losing the art of the rebounding. A lot of people don't think it's a skill. You just jump up and grab it, but you got to know when to box out. You got to know how low to get, put your hips beneath some other guys. You have to know when to place, when to jump, when to time, where the ball is going to go. Everything Rodman described in this last few episodes, right, was just mind-blowing to me. It was crazy to me how someone can put that much time and effort in just looks like two simple things: defense and rebounding. And that's why he's one of the greatest rebounders ever. You saw the clips. The guy was out rebounding Charles Barkley. He's out rebounding some of the tallest guys in the NBA. And then he just passed to Jordan. He wasn't trying to run it up the floor. He wasn't trying to create offense. Grab the board, pass to Jordan, pass to Scotty. Play the defense. That's all you got to be. You just got to be the defensive anchor for this team, and that gives your team momentum to carry forward and get your head straight. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, again, the closest thing we have to that is Draymond. I wouldn't say, like, I'm thinking when I think rebounders, I think guys like AD, but AD is completely different than Dennis Rodman. He grabs the board, but he can create offense. He can shoot. He can dribble. He can post up. He can dunk. Dennis Rodman could do those things, but AD is AD, bro. He's once in a lifetime type of talent, and it's just crazy. I think that's who Draymond ultimately wants to be and be better than, but I just can't see it right now. I don't know. I just can't see it. And Draymond is a good player, but I don't know. I don't know. This year kind of like took me back a little bit from Draymond because I guess he didn't have his supporting cast, but we'll see next year when they all come back and we'll see how well he plays. So that's what we'll see. And also another thing I took away from this documentary, it's just the importance of having a good team around you and having a good mentality around you, and the importance of your supporting cast and who is putting the players in front of you, what your mentality is going into the game. And why I'm saying this is because Scotty was out, and we could see in these last 4 episodes. Scotty was out, and they started losing games. And even Jordan has said it himself, like, I needed Scottie Pippen. Like, we need Scottie Pippen. There shouldn't be a Michael Jordan talk without Scottie Pippen. Without him, there's no championships. And that's facts. I don't know why people try and debate that. If Scotty was never on those teams, they're not winning championships. And who's guarding Magic Johnson without Scottie Pippen? Who's guarding Magic Johnson if you don't have Scotty? And everyone's saying Jordan guarded the best players, but this man wasn't guarding Scotty. So this man wasn't guarding Magic Johnson. So you need guys like that. So I don't know what people are talking about. Um, like go back to the first time the Cavs met up the Warriors, 2015. All right, and I'm not trying to take away anything from the Warriors. I'm not trying to trigger any Warriors fans, but you had Kevin Love and Kyrie out, and you had LeBron by himself with Matthew Dellavedova, Iman, and the other guys, right? And of course they're gonna lose. They're gonna like LeBron made it at least competitive because he's LeBron, but even Jordan himself couldn't do it without at least some help. At least some backup. And he had Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman came in. Um, they messed up one time, but then he came over, kind of apologized to Jordan, didn't really say anything, but they kind of knew it was an apology, and they got right to work. And from that day on, Jordan was counting on Scotty to be his second, not Scotty, Dennis Rodman to be his second after Scotty was out for a little bit of time. And you need a second player. You need someone to look back. LeBron needed somebody in these series to look on and be like, hey, I need help. I need a sort of anchor that I can go to. And it wasn't there for when they first got injured, Kyrie and Love, So he had no one to look to. But then when they were there, when they had Kyrie and Love, or Kyrie, I should say, because Kyrie was that really second guy. He was that scorer. He could create offense. He was the closer for the team. And he had that. Then they're coming back 3-1 and winning championships, But then when Kyrie leaves, and then suddenly it's Kevin Love to be the second guy on the team, and he can't really. From watching, it looked like LeBron literally just had to carry that team. You know what I'm saying? Because no one even talks about Kevin Love, like during that whole 2017, 2018 run, whatever. No one really talks about him. And LeBron, that's why LeBron tried to bring in guys like D Wade, Rose, IT, because you need other guys to create offense. You need that help, and everybody needs help. If this isn't perfectly illustrated, that even Jordan himself needed help, he needed to trust his teammates and get help. Then I don't know, because you can't win without a supporting cast. You know what I'm saying? So Jordan has someone to look forward to. So why do we like to badger LeBron all the time that he couldn't do it? Like, he couldn't beat the Warriors when he didn't have a guy like Dennis Rodman. He didn't have his Scottie Pippen for a lot of these runs. The first time the Cavs went to the finals, he didn't have a second guy there. When Kyrie and Love were injured, he didn't have those guys there. And yes, the only time LeBron, that I think in my head, LeBron rightfully should own up to him losing in the finals is the loss against the Mavs, and the loss against the Spurs, because he had Wade and Bosh. It shouldn't be no excuse. I don't know why he didn't show up in those series. If I ever get to interview LeBron one day, I would want to ask him just what was going through your head during those finals. But again, when you versing a team like Golden State in 2015, your players are injured. Then you could have, 2017? 2017, I think Kyrie was he there? I'm pretty sure he was there. Then they had Durant stacked against him. Kyrie left. Then you had him just by himself, lost again. So it's hard to say, because a lot of this was just pinned up against him. But even then, Mike needed his Scotty, he needed Rodman, he needed Paxson, he needed Steve Kerr, he needed all these guys to help him out and make those shots. Because when they were shutting this guy down, when Detroit was shutting this guy down, it says every time he tries to leave the ground, just foul the shit out of him, because he can't shoot. So he's going to drive to the rim. So every time he tries to hop up, jump, do something, foul the shit out of him. And that's what they did. They just took him out of the air completely. And that's how they beat them. So he needs to learn to trust his teammates. But if you don't have those teammates there, how are you going to win the game? And that's why they missed Scotty so much. They missed him when he was out so much. And this is what I'm thinking. You need that guy. It's so important in the NBA that you need your second, third guys. Because without that big two or big three, you can't really win a championship. Like nowadays, you can't really win a championship without at least two superstars on your team. Two superstars and a really good supporting cast. Look at the Clippers. Look at the Lakers. Can I say, the Celtics have a big three if you want to count Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kemba Walker as a big three. like Miami Heat, Butler is just leading them by himself at this point. With guys coming up like Robson, Tyler Hero, Dragic is still there, all these good guys. So this Bulls documentary is putting a lot of things into light of the parallels of today and back then. Even though the rules have changed, the kind of premise of the game hasn't changed, because you still can never win by yourself. You can't win by yourself. Even though Michael Jordan has the infamous there's an I and win type thing, when they were beating the shit out of him, he had to pass to Paxson. He had to let Paxson and hoped he make those shots, And why are we giving shit to LeBron for doing the same thing, for trusting his teammate? Like, perfect example. I'll always remember this. Always remember this because I wanted to see how the internet just railed on LeBron for this one. It was going to be a game winner, and he drives to the basket and he drives the defense in. 3 people come to close in on LeBron. So he can either take a really, really stupid contested layup that he may or may not make, or he could pass to the wide open corner, one of the best 3-point shooters to ever grace the court, Kyle Korver, in wide open in the corner. So he makes the right basketball play, and he passes it to Kyle Korver, who misses the shot, sadly. But, this is what I'm saying. Like, if Jordan could trust his teammates, then LeBron should be able to trust his teammates without receiving that type of criticism. I don't get where everyone pulls this. Jordan is like, he did it all by himself. Yes, he dropped an insane amount of points, but he did pass to his teammates. He did pass to his teammates when he was getting clamped, or when everyone was just focused on him, triple teaming him, double teaming him. He passed to his teammates. So what are we doing here? He passed to Steve Kerr for the game winner. Like, all these different things, So I think we should just start. We should just look at this documentary and just see the parallels of the game before and the game now, and how it's played, and how a lot of people like to construe things. A lot of people who didn't even watch Michael Jordan, like, a lot of people didn't even know that Scottie guarded Magic Johnson for that series and clamped him. Look how pivotal Scottie was. I guarantee you, if anything, if they didn't have Scottie, this guy Magic would have ran that offense right through them, And they couldn't say nothing. But this guy was on him. He was picking him up full court. He was getting those steals. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to even see, because Magic Johnson, in my eyes, like, I haven't watched the series fully. I just watched like highlights and stuff. But it's crazy because you think Magic Johnson's like this god tier basketball player, and to see him being locked up by Scottie that way is crazy. It's crazy to me. And that's why we always need that second player, because who the hell is locking up KD when LeBron has to deal with the other 3 Warriors, Because if you stop KD, who's stopping Curry? Who's stopping Clay? Who's stopping these guys from going? Because it's so weird how this team is built, and it's built perfectly for shooters. And I wondered how the Bulls would have done against them, because you take the Bulls, you take Jordan, Scottie, Dennis, all these guys, right? Paxson, Harper, all these guys. Who's guarding, like, say Jordan's guarding Clay. Who's guarding Steph Curry? No one is shutting down Steph Curry, right? Durant and Scottie would be an interesting matchup. Because Durant would get his buckets, but also Scottie would slow him down. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Dennis would just eat Draymond. The centers kind of null each other out, I feel like the Bulls center would have an advantage over the Warriors. But it's weird because you draw these guys out and it leaves room for them to drive in. But which era are we playing in? Because I saw Shaq talking about it. Are we playing in the big boy era where the fouls are left and right? Or are we playing now where we got zones, no more hand checking, things like that? It's interesting to talk about, and it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to these next few episodes, I think it's going to get into Kobe next week, so that's going to be pretty sad. But I'm looking forward to talking about it. I'm just really enjoying the series so far. It gives me a lot of interesting things to think about, like those last 2 episodes. I feel like the art of rebounding needs to return, and more players need to be like Rodman, because that's very vital to teams nowadays, defense and rebounding, because a lot of times teams lose strictly on the boards. But yeah, that's really all I have to talk about this week. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys haven't checked out my YouTube channel, check it out for me. Please upload basketball content on there whenever I can. youtube.com/thecommymythic. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next week.